So welcome back to the Hellbound Podcast, hosted by myself, Alex Blackburn. Michael is currently working on post-production of a few short films he's producing, and I've seen one of them, which is exceptional, so hopefully we'll get to talk about that a little bit soon. He started a production company. But I'm joined today by our first guest, independent filmmaker, as I'd call it, Balraj Kang. Is that correct? Is that how have I messed your name up again?
No, that's perfect. You actually got that spot on.
Yeah. Well, so, it's a great name, and especially his surname Kang. It's like, it's a super villain.
Yeah.
Take that the right way,
Yeah, it's super simple as well. Like, it always reminds me of the alien from Simpsons, because his name was Kang as well.
Yes. So. The ones with the glass dome on them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah. So how are you doing? Because it's the last time we spoke was almost 2 years ago, when we were in the midst of, the thing that shall not be named, that's hopefully coming to an end, and the Hellbound Horror Festival, which is coming back on the 1st of August.
Amazing.
So how are you doing, and what are you kind of up to at the moment?
Yeah, I'm good. I think things are sort of getting back to normal a bit. So at the moment, finishing off Mortis, so that just doing the VFX editing on that, and that should be ready end of this month.
For anyone that doesn't know, what is Mother Mortis? Can you describe that briefly?
Yes. So it is sort of my love letter to two genres, and I think like in horror anyway, like subgenres like H.P. Lovecraft, which I'm a big fan of, and also slasher films like Friday, Halloween, and it's sort of a merging of both. And I'd probably say it's more of a splatter film because it's got a lot of gore in it.
We all love that. We all love that.
And it took us a year to make. We started shooting last March last year. We finished sort of around September, October time. And then since then been editing it, and it's just a long process. Like,
so that's gone from the original concept in the 15-minute version to something more feature length?
Yes. Yeah. So what happened with that was started off with the short, which was only about 12 minutes. And it did real good at film festivals and stuff. And I just wanted to expand on it. So ended up making it 6 parts, all in one feature, and each part basically shows a different sort of event going on relating to Mother Mortis, and it sort of culminates up to part 6, which is the finale. So yeah, it was good to shoot. It was fun. It's nearly out. It's going to be out on a few different distributors. So Troma Now. It's going to also be on Culture Shock, which is an American distributor.
That's
Dark
awesome.
Hollow.
Awesome.
And Prime, Amazon Prime, it's going to be on. And also I'll be distributing it here in the UK. So, it should be out. We're expecting it mid-July. So, yeah, that's Mortis.
That's quite exciting. Please send us any links as well, because we're more than happy to share that and post that when I do the let me turn myself down a little bit. When we do the second festival, the kind of push for that, and everything gets updated, the channel art and the website and everything. We're more than happy to put a link in there for the Amazon or and we'll help you with that. Yeah.
I'm planning to send it to a very, very select few of festivals like Mortis, including Hellbound, in August. That's why I'm hoping now to get it out in certain platforms, but wait off a little bit on like Amazon Prime and stuff until later on the year, so that I can do a little bit of a festival run. I'm not planning to send it to many places, only sort of like between sort of 10 and 15.
It's a lot of work. Festivals. It's a lot of work submitting.
Yeah, and I think I've learned to be like more selective with the festivals that I send it to. So I don't want to be sending it to a festival that doesn't appreciate horror, you know. So
yeah.
I'm going to try.
I can tell by your social media posts how important that is to you.
Yeah, I blow in the wind with my feelings for festivals. There are certain festivals, don't get me wrong, which I really support and I enjoy, and I keep a track of, but then there's other festivals as well, and as you know, running a festival that aren't for the filmmaker, so it's like
it's a bit snobby, isn't it? Even with horror.
It's snobby, and also like they just want to take your money, and that is like what it is. It's like it's a pit. The way I see it, it's like
your film gets submitted, you pay your money, and then nothing happens. Like not even recognized or thanked, or it's awful. It happens in sport. It happens in things you support yourself with your money or submissions. Like you say, it is a like a deep dark pit, like you say. And it just disappears, and there's no kind of appreciation.
Yeah, and I think like even now I've realised, obviously, getting more and more into the industry and getting to know more people that are outside my immediate crew. Because before I was very like isolated, and it was just me and my crew making films, and I ignored the outside world. But slowly I've started making connections with different producers and crews and stuff. So it's like there's a lot of people out there that are festival doctors, for example, and people that like are agents but don't do anything and take some of the money, or a lot of these very not so transparent and great distributors. So it's like you've got to be, and it's the same for filmmakers. You get certain filmmakers where it's just they're in it for the wrong reason. They churn out 20 crap horror films every year, and I can't do that. It takes me a year to make it, from the idea to making it to editing it.
Well, that's it, because you're keeping your focus, and it's extremely difficult to make anything. It really is. Like, I've got this idea for a short film. There's a kind of otherworldly presence in it, and it's only going to be 5 minutes, and I've got a few of my close friends, and the host of the last, or one of the, because this might not necessarily get released next week, but one of the episodes that recently of the Hellbound podcast, that featured Will Cotton, episode 33. He's a long time collaborator, and we find it so difficult with earning a crust whilst also trying to make a film. We find it really difficult to find projects to work on. So when we do find something, we all want to be engaged. Like, I'd love to talk to you a little bit about your crew, actually, and what you kind of the makeup is in terms of who does what and how you met them. So Will and I have got this project together. We've got an actress friend of mine who was in Justice League. She's got a few lines of dialogue in the first version, not the recut version.
Okay,
So she's going to feature in that, and thankfully it's not like an issue with what do you call it, Screen Actors Guild, where you have to be have to have all of that. Like, I've spoken to American friends of mine, and it's extremely difficult even to cast their friends in their short films. So thankfully this friend of mine who's in Justice League, she's she's really happy with being in the short, and it's very, very difficult to get anyone on board. So if you can tell me a little bit about your the makeup of your team, and because I see it's quite a big crew now.
Yeah, it's big. I think it's all about following the project, and it's like proving yourself. Like, for example, when I first started out, it was difficult to get a crew at all because no one believed that I could make anything. So you get a lot of them indie filmmakers where they're a one-man crew. They write, direct, they shoot it, they act in it, they edit it, they do everything. But it's very limited. Like, you know what it's like. Like, you guys have made short films and stuff. You know that on a day of filming, time is everything. And, like, having a big crew is a gift and a curse in a way, because you've got a lot of people's expectations and you have to manage it really well. And if you don't manage it really well, it causes issues, which is the curse. But the gift is you've got all these amazingly talented people who are like working with you in a singular vision, and everyone's really driven by passion for the art. And
Yeah.
it's different when it becomes a job. It's different when it becomes a day job and you've got to do it
almost a
every day.
chore. Yeah.
Like that's the reason why, you know, I keep my separate day job from my, you know, work, my film life, just because I want to still enjoy it. I don't want it to be, you know, become like a slog. But yeah, my cruise, it's evolved naturally.
That's why it has to be a passion, because if it wasn't a passion, the filmmaking, and it was like, I work for a university as like almost a lead in video production in terms of marketing. I'm actually cutting together a trailer for the cinema for the university, which is amazing. It's getting color timed properly in London and everything. Which I'm not involved in the final audio mix, which I'm gutted about because they're going to go to some Dolby place in London.
Wow. Nice.
But yeah, I find it difficult, even though I've got talented friends I work with, to bring them into the fold of what I want to do outside of work, because it almost reminds me of work as well. And I don't want to don't cross the streams, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I'm the kind of person where, you know, if no one's going to make it, I'll still go forward and make it. If no one's going to give me money, I'll make it. I'll find a way, because at the end of the day, if I don't make my ideas, you know, they're not going to get made. And
when you started, were you in front of the camera as well?
No. So I avoid. I have recently actually done a cameo in a film, a horror film that's being shot in London, and that had Lawrence R. Harvey in it from Human Centipede and a few other people.
Oh wow!
And that's called Video Shock Tales of Terror, and it's 6 different anthologies, and I'm directing a segment for Video Shock 2. But the thing is I sort of like started wanting to learn as much as possible, and I met people along the way. Either it was just destiny or fate, or I attracted people that liked my ideas, and that sort of formed the crew, you know. And I went through points where I had a DOP, and it at the start when I first started my like filmmaking journey, and it didn't work out. Then I had another one, and it didn't work out, and now I'm on my third. You know, he's my guy. You know, and What was the moment? What was the moment where you realized that? I think the moment I realized it was when the first day that we had on set, and we were filming Mother Mortis Chapter 3, Part 3, and that was really the first time Rick, who's my DOP, it was all up to him, and that was sort of like our first date. You know, if you're like the director and the DOP, you know. So what made me realize?
Here's my baby. Please, please look after it.
Yeah, and it's sort of like I think the way I realized he's my guy is, number one, he was super easy to work with and super nice, and we're like best of friends now. You know, he's actually one of my best friends. You know, and that was obviously not when we first met, but I could tell this guy's easy to work with, and he's on point. And what made him realize he's my guy was he's got an engine the same as me. He's not the kind of person that, as a DOP, and I'm the same as director, we're not the kind of people who sit back and watch the monitor over and over again or have a tea. And we are on it, like, and I think that's what I realized. I realized at the end of the day, and it's like 12 a.m. midnight, he's the guy that's there left with me. Him and Hannah, you know, are the two people that. Hannah's my girlfriend. She's also producer. She does costume design, set design, and for the recent film that I did, Diwali Maniac Bloodbath, she was my assistant director as well, because I needed somebody I could trust.
Trust is massive, and that's a whole other thing, isn't it? Like, my wife's done an episode of this podcast, and she would make a good producer. But I find what was that like working with her as well as having that relationship?
It was quite easy. You know, she knows how much I love films. She knows she knows me inside and out. And, you know, she's the kind of person where I'm on set and I'm going like the clappers and I'm not eating for 12 hours on set. And she's the person that comes to me with a sandwich or a drink, or, you know, and that's what keeps me going, you know. And even though some points I'm like maybe a bit snappy because I'm so stressed out.
It's the hanger as well, isn't
it? The thing is, other people would take it to heart. And, you know, other people would get offended by that. But she knows me so well that she knows that I don't mean it. And she knows that I'm just focused on getting the task done. And like you said, like, trust is everything. Like, I trust. People have seen her by my side through the whole process. So they know if Bal's not there, Han's going to know exactly what's going on. So, yeah, I've got people. I'm just blessed with a great crew, I guess. Like, you know, and it's great, rare that happens.
And who's the person that's doing your makeup for your current film?
So I've
special
got
effects makeup.
I've got 4 SFX artists at the moment. So I've got April Green, who's makeup artist. She's very experienced and she's really good at people management. In her job, she teaches other SFX artists. So she's the person for the new film that we made, Diwali Maniac Bloodbath, and for Mortis and Defenders. She was the person that really led the SFX. Then I've got obviously Jay, who is the person that played Mother Mortis, and he also he's more of a self-taught SFX artist, but he's become absolutely incredible. He's a fast learner, and he's really good now at making puppets, doing facial prosthetics, and building things. He recently made a Batman suit from scratch with no help.
You've posted about that. That looks great.
Yeah. And he made a skin lamp as well, like inspired by Ed Gein.
Jesus.
Yeah, and that's
so
the best skin lamp I've seen. Yeah, when I seen it, I was like, it looks so real.
I almost want to call this episode Skin Lamp.
Yeah, you can.
That's so dark.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's awesome. And sorry, you were saying, yeah.
I've got 2 more as well. I've got Hazel McCarthy, who's been with me from the start, and she's great at SFX, and she also acts, and she's a brilliant actor, which we've sort of just found. And then I've got Abigail Hunt, who is like the rising star, like the youngster of the team, but she's sort of the person who likes to be very creative with things. So yeah, I'm really blessed with those 4 as a team for the SFX.
I see that you've upgraded from the low light leaded windows interview space we were in last time. So is this a different house or?
Yes, this is a different house. Moved house in, when was it? Beginning of this year. So it's been a while, a few months or 6 months, but it feels like we've been here for ages. So
yeah, you settled in nicely.
Yeah, settled in really nice. It's a quiet neighborhood, and it's sort of a bit secluded, so it's quite nice. Get a lot of peace and quiet around here.
That's good, man. It's similar to where I live. So I'm in the same house, but we're part of an army barracks, and we're on a private street within the army barracks because parts of it have been sold, and there's a fenced off area where the army is.
Oh wow!
And then so these houses were first offered to police and nurses and people from the military, and we loved the street, and it was really quiet. And then the other night, I saw, I don't know what you call a group of foxes, but walking, and all I saw was in the silhouette underneath a street lamp at night. It was like 12:30 midnight.
Oh,
and it's really nice to kind of live somewhere quiet and then go into the chaos of work.
Yeah,
and filmmaking. You know.
That's very true.
I've got before I forget. I've got. Sometimes I try and go onto people's live stuff as much as I can. And I saw, I don't know what it was, but I really loved your late night walking down the street rant. I can't remember what it was about, but I think it was a filmmaking thing, but it was hilarious. Love that.
Yeah, I think that was New Year time or Christmas.
Yeah, sounds
time.
about right. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I've been less on the rants just because I've not had much time social media wise, and also I felt personally that it's taken over my life.
It's too much. It's too much.
Yeah, and it's becoming like a horror film, like in reality, where it's like I slowly feel that I'm becoming addicted to it. So I had to just step back a little bit. And
look how many people are gonna have bad necks. You know, they're gonna have this, like the broke neck lady from House on Haunted Hill.
Yeah,
be like that, man.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I think it's just really, it's just too much, and it's like too much info all the time, and I need a bit of a break from the whole rigmarole of having to deal with.
Yeah, it used to be more enjoyable when Instagram was more about photos and video. Now it's more about creating networks and social stuff and chat. And
and it's about selling things and everything.
God, yeah,
money gets into everything and it ruins it. That's always what the root of all evil totally is. Money.
Really want to talk about your new project because my wife's Indian. She's a Windian, so she's a Welsh Indian. Her family from the Punjab region of India.
Yeah.
And I really want to know about this horror film. Can you tell me the title? You've mentioned it before. Can you give me a premise and what stage it's at? And it sounds mental in a good way, you know. So if you can tell me about that, that'd be great.
It's called Diwali Maniac Bloodbath, and it's a Brit Asian slasher film. So it's the general premise is it's about an ex-lover of a girl getting married, and it's his quest for revenge against her and her family and her new husband, and in part it's not got much comedy elements to it. It's quite dark and serious. It's quite, obviously it's very brutal. And we literally, filming wise, we did the first day of filming on the 5th of June down in Romford. And it went really well. We were shooting for 12 hours non-stop. I think we got 12 kills in one day, which is more than all of Morpheus combined. So we really went at it. And and I'm trying to have it so it's the two worlds combined, because the girl, the bride, she's Caucasian, she's white.
Okay.
Her new fella is Indian. Yeah. And the killer, the main bad guy, he's Indian as well. So when I went into it, I wanted to do a film where it's a British horror film, but the bad guy is Indian, because I never seen that happen before. And I found an amazing actor from up here, Haroon Rafiq, and he's very method in his sort of technique, and it just ended up being a project now where it's sort of, we've done the first day of shooting. I'm now editing the first edit and deciding on which pickups I've got to get, and then going to be deciding the next few days of shooting and trying to just lay them down in the diary. But it's going to have Indian soundtrack. It's going to be very sort of Suspiria style lighting that we've done. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm thinking it'll probably coming out early next year, because it's going to take the rest of this year to finish shooting it. So yeah,
that sounds great, man. I do love the look of that, because I saw, was it the wedding ceremony or a party scene or something, And I was like, oh, okay. And then it was your description of it was the caption. It was something about first Asian, was it?
Yeah, that's it.
Horror, Diwali horror films. Like, oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah,
that's definitely up my street. You know what I mean? Because I've got extensive Indian family now.
Yeah, I'll send you a copy. I'll send you a
please
signed
do.
copy.
I'd love we'll love that. We'll absolutely love that. I think it's a market, you know, from a financial point. I'm not a financial point of view, but from a market point of view, I think it's a really strong market to kind of lean into, because there's definitely a huge kind of Indian population in the UK, and because you have that mix. Like, I knew very little about. I knew enough about Indian culture, but as soon as I had the family, like the food I just had now was from my mother-in-law, and she's exceptional. It's rotis and everything. You know what I mean?
Oh, lovely. Yeah. Punjab is my area as well. So
awesome. So I'm down for that. I'm down to support that. So anything I can do, or with the small platforms I have, I want to kind of shout about that, because it's. Are you going to have that almost? This is obviously, you probably already made this decision. Are you going to have that almost not bad audio sound you have in some Bollywoods? Because there's like an earlier Bollywood sound almost.
Yeah.
Because there's. Are you going to have music in it? Is it going to lean less towards Bollywood? Is it more going to be kind of a British Asian film?
I think music-wise, I've got my composer who made the music for Mortis Pat from Switzerland making the music.
Okay.
And I've also got Aaron as well, who's assisting him. But I want the audio to be good. We're going to go with a mix soundtrack-wise of horror mixed with a bit of Bollywood, a bit of traditional Punjab Bhangra music rather than Bollywood, which is very sort of Hindi inspired. Punjabi music, Sikh music is more different instruments. So I'm going more down that phase.
Awesome.
Because that's more sort of Indian folk music, which is a bit more authentic. So, you know, there is that sort of divide. But I have been, you know, very blessed to work with some producers, Lal Singh, who helped me get the project off the ground, and also Sandesh in India, who lives in Bangalore. So he's good friends with the Ramsey brothers, who are like pioneers in Indian horror cinema. They were the guys that sort of started making Indian horror. So I am hoping, obviously, I can get it out in India as well, and I think it will have a big audience, because there's a lot of dialogue in the film, which is a mixture of Punjabi and English. So, you know, I'll be doing subtitles so people can understand. But yeah, I just want to do something different. You know, it's really hard, as you know, in the horror market to stand out. And I thought, what do I have that makes me stand out? And I thought, it's my culture. It's something that I should use to my advantage. And
totally,
really...
like comedians, writers, anyone creative that's, you know, had huge success, they always kind of look back, and their influences are their own lives, their kind of cultures. So I think this is a really smart move. I think this is a really creatively, you know, untapped for yourself. I think it's I'm really, really, really curious about it. And I think, putting your own kind of influence on it, your own stamp on it, I think it's a really, really interesting move. So what was the title of that again?
It's called Diwali Maniac Bloodbath. So obviously the film,
that's awesome.
Yeah, the film's set in Diwali. It's based on the Maniac, and it's a bloodbath. I'm looking forward to it. The problem that I have is like competing ideas for scripts. So like at any one point, I probably have about between 5 to 10 scripts, which I can film. and which are filmable scripts, because you get filmable scripts and you get absolutely non-filmable scripts, which are like, I need a big budget. So I've got a lot of scripts, and it's always hard to decide which one do I need to make next, because it's a long process. You're creating something which takes time, effort, money, and you've got to be invested in it. You've got to be wanting to finish the project. And that's why I thought, this was maybe a project that if I hadn't made it now, maybe I couldn't have made it later.
Yeah.
And I had Asian actors at my fingertips, which were very hard to find. I must admit, in the UK.
Was that the number of Asian actors, or the ones willing to do this kind of horror?
Both. So it was the number. There's naturally a lower number than Caucasian or African or even Oriental. Like, I realized the Asian number is much lower. And also there was certain actors who thought the plot was too dark. There's a scene, well, I probably shouldn't ruin it, but there was a few scenes which people weren't too happy about being involved in.
Was it like crossing a line to them with mixing horror with the Indian culture kind of thing?
Yeah, it was. I had a few problems. So some of the actors didn't want to be extras. Some of them wanted to be main role or nothing. Other actors were a bit more difficult to deal with, and I like to think I'm quite a good judge of character, so I gauged the fact, this person might be a bit difficult, and in the end it turned out that my hunch was usually right. But yeah, and then there were certain things where the script, they were a bit not too keen to have their name associated with having their head bashed in with a hammer, or having a cleaver shot to the head, or
I know people.
Like
I know people, like film fans like me. Like, if I was going to be in your film, like, can I get my head bashed in? Because that's just cool.
Yeah,
people love being in horror films and getting murdered in horror films.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. It was a real difficult situation. But I'm really blessed because the actors that got involved, amazing. And I found so many great actors.
That's
and
awesome,
I found
man.
some brilliant Asian actors, which I'll be doing more stuff with. So, it's difficult finding actors. It's always like throwing a fishing net out with an idea and then seeing who circles around it and then trying to reel them in.
I totally agree. Like the short film I'm working on, I knew this person since 2001, where a friend and I were traveling around Europe for 6 months, and at the end journey, we met in this. My friend and I met these two girls in this campsite in Amsterdam. There's a long story.
Yeah, it sounds like a
fun story. Not with these two girls, but basically we made really good friends with them, and then I was friends with this particular person, and she ended up being in like Hinterland and a Two Heads Creek horror film, and then she was in Justice League.
Wow.
But she's really great, and she'll feature on the podcast at some point. Her name's Kasha Bajor. She's super talented, and then we talked about making a short film or something, like doing something together, like production wise. And I feel very, very blessed to have someone that's worked on something really serious, and her range is from comedy to horror. She's super talented, and I sent her the script for this piece that I kind of tempted to turn it into horror. It's drama at the moment. It's only 5 minutes, but finding actors is one of the, especially when you're working at, here's Hollywood budget, which I'm holding my hand up high, and then there's UK budget, and then there's where we are. You know what I mean? So it's very, very difficult. There's one last thing I wanted to talk to you about before you go. Is I asked you to I think of 3 films before you joined the podcast, that 3 horror films. I know we could talk, especially about one of them, for hours, hours and hours, about theories about who's an alien and who's not. I think we almost spilled into that last time we spoke 2 years ago.
Yeah, we did.
So, what are the 3 films you'd like? So, well, we can do this where we reveal it one by one if you like. So, which one should we talk about first?
I say Society, just because that was the last on my list. So we'll go last to first.
Okay. And what is it you love about Society? And can you give a very brief description of what it's about?
Yeah, so it's basically about a guy who realizes that his rich parents are involved in something weird, and his whole investigation through the film is trying to find out what that is. And it's a secret society of sorts, and it's a body horror. So I'll let you watch it. I won't ruin it. But what I like about that,
David Cronenberg?
No, it's Brian Yuzna. So it was Brian Yuzna's sort of one of the ones that should have been much more popular than it was. But obviously, everyone knows Brian Yuzna for Bride of Reanimator.
I love that.
Yeah, so Society, what I liked about it was the build-up is excellent. It's a master class of building horror tension, but also
I know this movie.
The finale blew my mind. When I watched the finale and the SFX by Screaming Mad George, who's way criminally underrated, the finale was just like, wow. And I literally watched that finale, which they call the shunting. I watched that probably 3 or 4 times in a row just to like get my head around the visuals.
I've just brought up some screenshots of the movie. Wow. Yeah. If anyone's listening, for people listening to this, Google the film. Just Google Society horror movie, and then click on images on your Google search, and you'll get an idea of Balraj's
taste.
The poster art is amazing. I love the poster art.
Yeah, the poster art's really good.
With the kind of actress or character that's pulling her own face off. That is grim.
Yeah, that I'd recommend that.
Okay.
Second,
what's the second one, man? Yeah.
Second one on the list is Hellraiser 2 Hellbound. And that is just simply because, my opinion, it's the best Hellraiser film made.
It's our namesake for our festival and our podcast as well.
Yeah. I knew that we would get along. And it's one of them films where you watch it and it's got that repeat viewing ability because you're always just appreciating the depth, the sets, the acting, the SFX, the characters.
It has, for me, one of the best. I'd almost say the first 2 are legendary. The first 2 are epic. And this is a huge step up in production. Everything about it. The scene where, what's the Cenobite called that's like going crazy and trying to destroy everyone else?
Oh, Dr. Channard.
So dark. Dr. Channard's where he's in that. I think he's trying to destroy Pinhead in that room with all the light, the beams of light coming through, the chains hanging down. There's a shot in that where Pinhead's lit. I'm looking at the still now, and it's just a beautiful image. It's so dark. It's so sinister, and I've got. I'll shout out to Wave Props for this. Wave Props. This is a Hellraiser 2 thing, but I'll show you something else first. I almost died of COVID in 2020. On the day I was supposed to get married, I went into the hospital for 2 weeks, intensive care. That's a whole story in itself. But as a return to work present to make you feel better, he made this. So he made at a scale and correct color of the Maltese Falcon. So
wow!
This is how it actually looks in the film because it's black and white. You don't see the
black. That looks amazing.
Right, he made that. Wow. That's Wave Props. That's Matt Atherton. Shout out to him. But
very nice.
Something I commissioned him to do was this from the second film. You see how it has got the different colors?
Yeah, that's one of the best ones I've seen. Yeah.
So he made this. It's got weight to it, and he didn't. He's got a little trade secret that he won't tell me how he puts weight in it. But he made the lament configuration for from Hellraiser 2, because it's in one of the bell jars. This one.
Yeah, that's amazing. That looks like real good quality as well. Like it's in craftsmanship.
It's on my little shelf in one of my. I posted a picture of it. But yeah, Hellraiser 2. I think it's a I won't say it's a step up, because you can see Stranger Things Part 4 took a huge influence from Hellraiser and Hellraiser 2. Especially, I don't know if you watched the newest Stranger Things.
I've not yet, just because.
Look for the windows in some of the houses in the flashbacks. You'll see the roses, the leaded windows from the first movie. And Nightmare on Elm Street is a big influence as well. So I think you'll really dig the newest Stranger Things. But yeah, Hellraiser 2. Oh, it's so sinister, especially when you see how Cenobites are made.
Yeah, and it's that they put them in that. Oh yeah, I loved it. I thought it was just like, to me, it's difficult. Like, even I liked Hellraiser 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Forget all them ones. But another one which was really good was Hellraiser Judgment, which was by Gary J. Tunnicliffe.
It's not bad. Not bad.
Yeah, that was good. And the final film is.
Shall we? You know what we can do? We can either talk about that. I think we actually need a separate episode about your final third film.
John Carpenter's The Thing.
Amazing.
To me, probably, definitely the best sci-fi horror film ever made, and just an inspiration, I think, in everything
I was looking up to the alien god in the sky, but I agree with you. I do love it to bits.
I definitely think you're right. I think we should have one where we just speak about that.
Talk about that, and our favorite scenes now. And all sorts. So that is Balraj Kang's 3 films he wanted to shout about, because we can talk about new horror, we can talk about old, but I like kind of society. I've seen once, and that was grim. I watched it when I was like 15. And that had a profound effect when I was 15. So I'll revisit that before we record again, actually, and we'll follow up this episode with a recording soon. So we'll agree on a time and a date, and then we'll record an episode just about The Thing, and we'll build it up around that. I think that'll be awesome, because I won't start talking about it because I'll go on for hours. Seriously, the chess machine, I've
got some theories that you'll like to hear, but we'll wait. Wait.
Especially about who's what at the end of the film.
Definitely.
It was great speaking to you, Balraj, and I'll keep in touch, and I'll send you a little message in a sec about the next episode, and then we'll crack on with The Thing.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
See you soon, mate. All right, bye-bye.
Bye.